This conference will now be recorded.
I did. Can you hear my voice? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
Hope you can see my screen as well.
you can see your screen as well.
Thanks for confirmation. So today we are trying to understand what is by data science and what we are going to be cover as a part of our journey. People say data science is nothing but bits and pieces of backend ETL,
Are
front-end
you Amarnath?
visualization.
Your
Yes,
name is
Amarnath here.
Amarnath? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't know who is talking, right? So that's why I asked. Okay. Yeah.
Fine, fine. Thanks. Thank you. Generally I mean introduce myself at end of the session generally.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. So, generally, the people say that data science is nothing but a piece of artificial intelligence which we try to understand the requirement of the client, nothing but a problem statement, and trying to apply some statistical techniques and give some kind of insights to the management. That was the thing the people assume, but in fact, nowadays the company open their eyes towards the data and they're expecting a person who can work from end to end. When I say end to end, starts from data loading till it goes to visualization. The entire journey has to handle by data scientist. So that is the reason we name this one as a full stack data scientist. Just same as your Java. So starts from big data. When you say big data, nowadays the people are expecting to load a different type of files like video, audio, or uh, HTML file or a standard SQL file, whatever it may be. Any file, we are in a position to save it right now with a huge amount of data. So for that, we need to depend on a big data service. When you come to the olden days, like 1 or 2 decades before, we used to depend on SQL. Now we have NoSQL, Snowflake, Big Data, and Scala. There are different systems which is helping us to store a huge amount of data. So we call those people as a data engineers. Nothing but in a traditional terminology, we call it as ETL, extract, transform, and load. Now, once you have that concept called data engineer, thereafter the companies start extending their visibility towards the data, something called data engineering team, which they develop and they're expecting to do some kind of research. On the right hand side, you can see a Venn diagram, uh, which is helping you to understand the combination of data engineer followed by a data scientist. So here we, based on the problem statement, that whatever the company is expecting, once they share it, the problem statement, as a data scientist, I will convert the problem statement into uh, data science problem. Then I will start extracting the data. Just imagine like Amazon or take any bank, take any healthcare industry. There is a huge amount of data which is available in big data, in big data servers. Now, to address your problem, which data or which tables are helping you, you need to understand that. So for that, we are depending on data engineer in the past. Now, as a data scientist, it is your responsibility to get the data from servers. So that means you need to have some knowledge on your big data. Once you understand the problem, once you identify the tables or the fields which is helping you to address your problem statement, then extract the data to one of the uh, programming language, maybe R or SAS or Python or some other machine learning model. programming language, which is helping you to address the huge amount of data where you can apply your statistical techniques. So extract the data, manipulate the data as per your business problem, and analyze your data, understand your patterns. Once you understand the patterns, then build a models wherever it is applicable. For example, I want to forecast for next 10 days, or I want to forecast about next 1 minute. Take an example like a share market. Nowadays, there are different apps which is helping you to predict whether the stock is going to be up or down, negative or positive. So there is nothing like forecasting. Or I want to sell my car. If I want to sell my car, when I give the details like the manufacturing day, year, on the first one or second one, or diesel, type of a gas, number of kilometers I drove. So if I give the details, system is predicting what can be the approximate cost for the value for your car. Nowadays, if you go to Gmail is predicting the syntax, the statement syntax, how you're supposed to write. All these are different machine learning models which you can build and deploy to the client location. The best example like Alexa or the formation of the sentences, everything, even. So once you address your problem statement, propose that problem statement to the client. If the client agrees that the particular problem, the solution, whatever you provided, is addressing your problem statement, then once they agree, you can deploy into the live environment. Then start monitoring the results, whether the results are coming as you expected or not. If that is coming, then we are good. If that is not coming, then the problem statement again occurs. So the cycle is going to be repeat that multiple times. So on the bottom left hand side, you can see machine learning models. So machine learning and deep learning are hand to hand. The persons who are coming in initial days, they'll start with the machine learning, then they'll go for deep learning. So machine learning is nothing but just now, as I told you, the value of the car, or predicting what is going to be the next word, or forecasting about future. So all these things comes under machine learning. Deep learning is one step ahead to machine learning model. So capturing whether the terrorist is passing towards the camera or not, identify the objects with the help of cameras, or translate the language from one language to other language. All these things comes under deep learning. So machine learning, you can call it as a first step of your machine learning, first step of your ML methods. Deep learning, take it as second step. And third step, you can call it as a chat GPT or something more. Hope you understand. Once you understand all these concepts, then you are going to deploy that models into live environment. So these are 4 steps you have to consider as a part of your journey. Any questions on this? Let me know if I'm going fast. Now, 5 to 10 years before, you can call it one decade before, the people are different. So we used to have data engineer, we used to have data scientist and data analyst. 3 people are used to play 3 different roles. Now you can call it cost cutting, you can call it optimal utilization of the resource, you name it anything. All 3 roles has to play by single person called data scientist. So the data scientist should be in a position to handle data engineering job, some partial data engineering role, as well as the data scientist is expecting to give visualization using Power BI or Tableau. So multi-role we are expecting. So if you go to your job description, you can find machine learning models followed by visualization, maybe Tableau, Power BI, SAS, Visual Analytics, and backend cloud configurations like GCP, AWS, or something else. So data engineer primary, his roles and responsibilities are nothing but managing the servers and creation of your tables, and ensuring that the data is got load and transform the data into the required format. So nothing but data warehousing. In a traditional terminology, ETL developer. And data scientist is a middle layer and middle person before the report and after the data warehousing creation. So he applies a statistical technique and do the research on the with the help of the data which is provided by data engineer, and addressing the problem statements which is provided by the stakeholders. Just similar like a doctor. And data analyst is a person who create a nice graphical representation to client and give a minute live reports or extracted reports, whatever created by data scientist and data got pulled by data engineer. So data analyst main tools may be a Tableau or Power BI. Data scientist main tools are Python or SAS or IBM Watson, Weka or SPSS. And data engineer depend on the cloud where he or she is going to work. Any questions on this?
Amar, so
Yes.
you are going to, I mean, this class is going to concentrate on data scientists or all
Yes.
three, data engineering
No.
and data.
My major 90% of the course concentrating on data scientist. Depend on the role or experience the persons are going to present. I may give some touch point on data analyst as well as data engineer.
Okay, makes sense. So another question is you are going to teach Python and ML and AI, all three, right? For data scientists.
In AI, one part is ML. So you
Mm-hmm.
can take it. AI is nothing but a version. Within that, one piece is ML,
Mm-hmm.
and the another piece is going to be your deep learning.
Okay. So,
So that's why
uh,
you have to consider.
so what is the, I mean, content we are going to teach? Like you are going to teach Python, ML, and deep learning both.
Deep learning, we are going to go touch base, and machine learning, we are going to go in detail with a real-time projects. If based on the complexity you want, I can provide you. So I can provide you the Microsoft projects which I worked in my past, or DHL Logistics, which is one of the competitor for FedEx. So I can give you the major projects like this, which are, you can say those are flagship projects.
Okay. What is the duration of the course, Amar?
So generally, I can give tentative duration like 60 to 70 days, daily 1 hour, and depend on the candidates, I may extend for another 10 hours or 15 hours, depend on the candidates. If the people are interested and they want to go deep dive into some area, then I'm interested to go. It's purely depend on the students. General average time is going to be 60 to 70 hours.
Okay.
So if there is a person who's very interested to learn, I'm happy to share some more documents or recordings which they can showcase in their resume. For example, the person who's a data scientist, if you say he is also experienced or expertise into Tableau, then he'll get value add-on. So the way how I go is, there was a class which I have taken almost 200 hours. They were students, which is 6 month semester they had. So for them, I have taken almost 180 to 200 hours.
Okay.
So here, the
Reason why I'm asking
yes, please.
because all these students, right? So
Mhm.
nowadays, uh, data engineering jobs are like, there are data engineering jobs, but there is so much competition, right? So the
Agree.
next thing is data scientist with ML, AI, and Python, right?
Totally
So
agree.
yeah, so that's what my thing is. You need to concentrate basically Python, ML, and if you can teach like a deep learning also, that could help these guys. Okay.
Some action I can teach you. I don't want to give wrong commitment because I'm a specialized into machine learning models, and my last 8 years into machine learning only, not into deep learning. I got an opportunity to work on POC activity for one of my previous project. So that one I can display.
But you are going to teach Python, right?
Python end to end I can teach.
Oh, yeah,
So
please
the
go ahead
person
with.
who's going to learn here, you can assume those people are going to be like a Python engineers as well as data scientists using machine learning models. So that way you can project. So dual role they can play.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Abhi.
So thank
Yeah.
you. So data science journey, how this data science journey started actually in the sense. So there all the data science projects should start with a problem statement. When I say problem statement, generally the problem statement comes from the companies that add values to business efficiency gain, automation, or new capabilities. Or nowadays the companies, like service industries like Wipro, IBM, the XYZ service industry, they are proposing the POCs. Hey boss, you are working in this direction. If you start opting this machine learning models, that is going to give value advantage to your organization. So the best example, why the company profits are going down, though there is a good amount of sales. Why there is a lot? Why I'm going end up with loss? Where we are going wrong? So all these things, the data is available, but the company doesn't know where to check, where to monitor. So that is the area the data scientists come into the picture. So Amar, don't we have this kind of exercise in the past? Python is there from last 2-3 decades before, and R is there from last 40-50 years. SAS is there from last 60 years. But if you compare 2-3 decades before, if you want to purchase a pen drive, the cost is almost you can say maybe $50 or $5, $6 somewhere. Now, if you see the same GB, now it's nothing but peanuts. And now the company has a capability to store a huge amount of data, whatever the data is available. Now, the company wants to understand from the data. That is the reason the data scientist is coming to the picture. The same data scientist was available by name statistician. So during the 2 decades or 3 decades before, the statistician used to do experiments like a pathology lab. So after that, they start investigating and they propose a new processes. So it was 2-3 decades before the people were available. Same machine learning models we were applying with a small amount of data, and the time was huge. So within 1 hour of whatever I can do here, the same thing they used to take 3 to 6 months of time. That means the bad was supposed to happen, it was happened. So for that reason, the company start adopting different programming languages and adopted and meshed different people like ETL people and statistician people and requested, demanded or requested, you can say, the statistician has to learn some programming language. So they meshed multiple things. They've come up with a new hybrid person called data scientist. It's not a new programming language. It is not a new position. It was available from last 2-3 decades before. So the person is nothing but again a data scientist. Earlier we used to call statistician. He has to investigate the data, understand where we were doing wrong, and propose a new business strategy to the client. Now, as a data scientist, what is my responsibility? In the sense, there are just 5 responsibilities or 5 phases you have to come across for any business problem. The maximum is 5 steps only. So data scientist will convert any business problem into data science problem. So I will say that I want to increase the profit of my credit card. I want to increase the profit for my government organization or insurance company. So whatever the things proposed by your stakeholders or company, convert them into a data science problem. Then understand the possible causes and current business problems. For example, I want to increase the credit card profit. When I want to increase the credit card profit, there are multiple ways. I can increase just like that, I can increase the percentage of the taxes, or I can divide the people into multiple segments, and each segment I can give different percentages as a tax, or I can try to identify who are good customers or who are bad customers. I can give the defaulters, I can drop it. That way I can increase my business or my profits. So there are different reasons and different causes to improve your business. So I understand the current business problem and business patterns. Accordingly, you can propose the solution. So for that, the first thing what you're supposed to do is data identification and collection. So when I say credit card increase the business of profit of your credit card, then what you're supposed to do is you have to increase the first you need to understand what is the current business process. Once you understand the business process, then identify the business patterns. Once you identify the business patterns, then apply machine learning models on top of that. Once you apply machine learning models, you will get a formula. That formula you have to apply. Let me take a small example. For example, 1 decade before, if you are looking for some education loan, what you supposed to do? So for example, Amar is expecting an education loan, maybe in 2000 year. So what you supposed to do? You have to walk into the bank, you have to fill the education loan form, and you have to attach supporting documents. Once you attach the supporting documents, you have to hand over to bank employee. Am I right? This was the thing what he's supposed to do. To inquire for personal loan or home loan or an education loan. Are you agreeing with that? Team?
Yeah.
Once you fill the form and attach, hand over the documents, then employee 2 will go for verification. That means maybe a physical verification or a tele verification he will do. Finally, the documents will go to manager to approve a loan or rejecting a loan. Don't you think this is going to be a big process? That means for one inquiry, there are 3 manpower are working. Don't you think that you're investing a lot of money on that? And second thing, they are taking approximately 10 to 15 days in the past. We don't know whether you are getting a loan within 15 days or not. So generally what the customer is to do, he'll apply in ICICI Bank, he apply in HDFC Bank, he apply in different bank, A bank, B bank and C bank. So wherever he get a loan early, he will opt for that, and rest of the banks he will reject it. That means indirectly you are rejecting, you are going to lose an employee, losing a customer. Will you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
So bank 1 is approved the loan. That means you are going to lose a customer for bank 2 and bank 3. So indirectly, there are 2 ways your current business process is bad. That means you're investing 3 manpower. And second thing is, if you're not going to approve the loan before other bank approves, you're losing a customer. So this is called a problem statement. Is it not a good business process? It was a good business process, but during the journey, every 5 to 10 years, the business always changing. If you see the trend always changing. So it was a good business process they implemented, but the same business process is not applicable after some time. So this becomes as a problem statement. This problem statement goes to a data scientist. So what he will do? He will start understanding the current process. So what is the current process? So how the customer is walking to a bank and what he's supposed to do? He has to fill the form and he has to attach the supporting documents, maybe some house or something as an evidence, and hand over to bank employee 1. Then it will go to bank employee 2. Then once the verification is completed, the manager is taking an approval to approve or rejecting a loan. That means the manager is taking some checkpoints. If the customer is a government employee, straight away approve the loan. If the customer is not a government employee, nothing but a private employee, and his salary is more than some X amount, then approve the loan. If the customer is a private employee and his salary is less than X amount, reject the loan. If the customer is a private employee and his salary is more than X amount, but there are some existing loans, don't approve the loan. So there are some certain patterns he's following. So once you understand the current process, what you can do is you can extract the data. So what am I extracting the data? In a bank, don't you think that there is huge amount of data? So they are storing in Hadoop. Example, they are storing in Hadoop or AWS system or some GCP system. They are storing lot of data. So what data I need to collect? So the data which is relevant for your problem statement. How can I reduce the manpower, or how can I minimize the timeline from 10 to 15 days to maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds? How can I reduce this timeline, or how can I reduce the manpower from 3 to 1? So that is a problem statement. So which data is going to be suitable for this? Means the recent past customer inquiry forms which are rejected or approved by manager. Or approved by manager. So there are some. So assume that there is nothing but a June 2000 year. That means in the recent 6 months, there are maybe 1 lakh inquiry forms might be accepted or rejected by manager. Can we have the data from the database?
Yes.
So assume that these are 1 lakh data. So when you have 1 lakh data, these are nothing but application forms which are approved or rejected by manager. What I can do? I can do exploratory data analysis. So with the help of exploratory data analysis, I will try to identify the patterns. Nothing but just now, as I told you, the customer who is a government employee straight away approve the loan. The private employee, certain conditions I'm maintaining. So these patterns I can understand with the help of exploratory data analysis. With the help of, can I reduce the days or number of employees? Means no. This is my preliminary step to clean my data and analyzing the patterns. Once it's completed, apply your advanced statistical technique and start building a model, machine learning models. Let's say machine learning models, can I apply on this 1 lakh data? In the sense, what I'll do is, for my current problem, I will split this 1 lakh data into 80,000 data, 20,000 data. Okay, 20,000 data and 80,000 data. On top of 80,000 data, I will apply some statistics method. This method will give some prediction. When I pass my data, customer data, like a customer employment type, customer name, customer age, when I start giving some inputs, system is predicting whether to approve a loan or rejecting a loan. There are two outcomes you'll get it, either yes or no. Yes means approve a loan, and no means rejecting a loan. Are you getting my point? So when I apply my statistical technique, I'm getting this 80,000. Can you handle 80,000 data manually in Excel? Not possible, right?
No.
So I'll use Python or SAS or R or Veka. Like this, I have 1,000 plus tools. Still adding. And is it possible to handle 1 lakh data, understand the patterns? So again, not possible. I'm just giving a number like 1 lakh, but in real time, it may be millions, millions and billions. So again, or Python or SAS or some other tool. So on top of 80,000 records, you're taking help of a tool called Python and applying your statistical technique, passing some commands in Python and get some outcome. That outcome is nothing but a formula. What this formula means, it will take an input and it will give output. The input will be the age, some parameters like existing loans are yes or no, and number of dependents, number of how much loan is expecting, type of an employment, and etc. etc. Once you start giving this inputs this to this formula will run internally and will give an outcome like a yes or no. That is the outcome what your model is giving. It's just simple. Imagine you have a kit and you're training your kit. In the same fashion, you're training your mission. So what are the commands you're training to your kit? The same commands your kit will learn. Similarly, what are the data you're feeding, the 80,000 data? So this is nothing but the data you're feeding to your mission. Your mission will understand the patterns from this 80,000 data and it will act accordingly. So now your model is giving some outcome. Are you sure your model is giving right command or wrong, or right outcome or not? We don't know, right? It is telling yes or no, but are you sure whether it's right or wrong? We don't know. So for example, I have my age is 40 and I am a private employee and my salary is 1 lakh, example, and I don't have any dependents and I don't have any existing loans. So my model is saying no, don't give any loan. Is it a right outcome what I'm expecting? We don't know, right? Team, are getting my point?
Yes.
So what I can do means, this 1 lakh data is a past historical data. That means we know the manager decision. Am I right? It was historical data, right? Which is recent past data. That means manager already taken decision whether to approve a loan or rejecting a loan. So that means the 20,000 data which I'm using for testing purpose. So when I pass this 20,000 data to this formula is giving some outcome like yes or no. Are you getting my point? 20,000 data is nothing but 20,000 customers inquired. And this is my historical data. That means I know my manager decision. So when I pass this 20,000 data to my formula, if my formula is given the outcome, which is same as my manager decision, that means my formula is just a replica of manager. Can I say like this?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Amar.
So
So Amar,
when I, yeah,
so you are creating a models using the, I mean, historical data, and use that and apply that model in the real-time data, right? In the future.
in the future, yes, in the real time data. As
So
of now,
once
I'm training it.
yeah, you are training the machine basically using these models. Once this models is approved, right, it's working good, then you will apply this in the real-time data. So that, so this will be like AI, right? So this will take decision on fly with the real-time data, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is machine learning
Something like
models
training
only.
and
I'm
testing
not
the
talking
data,
about deep
right?
learning. I'm not talking about chat GPT. I'm just talking first level called machine learning. Okay. Now, so when it is just a replica of your manager decision, do you think that I require a manager to take a decision going forward? May not be required, right?
Yeah, might not be.
And bank employee one also not required because I don't require employee one to collect the documents. Let employee two will collect the documents and take a decision on immediate basis. So once he verify, once he feed the information to system, system is responding approve a loan or rejecting a loan. Then I don't require two. I am saving two employees here, and I do, instead of taking 10 to 15 days, I'm just taking hardly 1 day time. So that way, my machine learning model is saving huge amount from a bank. It is not only single bank. Imagine the branches are across India or across US or across universe. How much we are going to save? Two employees in a branch, and instead of taking 10 to 15 days, I'm just taking 1 day time. Now it's come down to hardly 10 to 15 seconds. Even Telecar is confirming whether we are receiving a loan or not based on CIBIL score. Hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. So once you decided, okay, my model is just a replica of my manager decision, then share that formula to your stakeholders, maybe a business. Once they understand, okay, this is working as per my expectation and this particular formula is addressing my problem, then they will approve it. Once they approve, then deploy into the environment. It may be GCP, it may be AWS, in AWS may SageMaker, or directly in deploy the formula into Tableau itself or Power BI itself. The write a formula and let the formula will give an outcome like 1 or 0. The abbreviation like yes or no, approve or reject. So that way we are going to follow the steps. So if I'm coming back here, the PPT, the same thing. Convert into data science problem, understand the possible causes and current business problem, data identification collection, which is nothing but collecting 1 lakh transactions or recent past. Don't go for you can say 1 decade or 2 decades before data. Just take the recent past data because recent past data is following your trend. 1 decade or 2 decades before data, generally it won't follow your trend. So take the recent past data and data collection. You have to do it from your database and do exploratory data. So nothing but identification of patterns and cleaning your data may not be each record may not have the data what you expected. So clean your data and apply your exploratory techniques. Then apply your machine learning techniques to identify the formula. Once you identify the formula, once it approves, then deploy the model into live environment. So these are the 5 steps you have to follow when you come to any machine learning models. So this is the, you can see here this simple example. You have a database and you have to extract, transform and load the data into data warehousing, nothing but OLAP. Once data is become into OLAP, that means the data engineer task is completed. From there, data from hereafter, after data OLAP systems cubes are created, data engineer is not going to be available for you. From data engineer part, it is data scientist responsibility. Apply some statistical models to clean the data and give, and apply some machine learning models for forecasting or prediction purpose. And next step to your machine learning, which is called deep learning models. to give some kind of visualization or translations or kind of a test information you have to pass. So when I say data science, machine learning models, what kind of machine learning models we have? So if you take a right hand side, the green color picture, the artificial intelligence is going to be the kind of entire area. Within that area, one piece is a machine learning. So within the machine learning, you have a subsection called deep learning. So now in this journey, the current journey, we are going to concentrate only on machine learning models, and we'll give touch base on deep learning models. Now, how can I do deployments in the real time? Means, as I just mentioned, the clouds are different. You can say more than 1,000 plus tools are available. So the majority of the tools are AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and Flask and Heroku. So there are different deployment tools are available. I mean, in my current project, I'm working on AWS. Now, can I create a normal stock prediction? Means, yes, you can create it by your own. You can write your code, Python code or R programming code, and you can deploy into Streamlit, and you can create an app like this. That app is going to predict whether the stock is going to be down or up. It's nothing but forecasting. That is one of the technique available in machine learning. Now, as a data scientist, what kind of skills I need to have? There are three types of skills what we generally expect to become as a data scientist. The first skill is you need to have programming language like Python, and some extent to data engineering like AWS or GCP or something. On the right hand side, you can see a nice full, good amount of subject you need to have on statistics and mathematics, because you need to generate formulas. Finally, you need to have domain knowledge. For example, the person who is working into banking domain, he can understand where the data is going to be stored or what kind of fields are helping for addressing any problem statement. Amar, I assume that I'm a fresher, I'm just passed out. I know data science, but I don't know domain. Do not worry, sit with a person who is asking a question. For example, the branch manager is asking you to minimize the manpower, minimize the time period. In our example, sit with him, understand the entire end-to-end process, then start working into the problem. Do not jump without knowing the domain or without knowing business. So if you jump, the outcome is going to be wrong. Now the example just now whatever we discussed, this is the workflow. The customer will walk into the bank, and employee 1 will collect the documents, employee 2 will verify the things, and branch manager is approving a loan or rejecting a loan. On the right hand side, you can see the phases. So asking an interesting question is nothing but, so you need to understand the current business problem, and you need to understand what are the touch points the branch manager is taking to approving a loan or rejecting a loan. So data collection. Since it is a bank, you will have good amount of data. You can say huge billions and trillions of data. But what are the tables are good enough to addressing your problem statement? You need to understand and collect the data. Here, there are two ways. If you're working for any service-based industry, you have to act as a data engineer to extract the data. Sometimes you need to create data also. Extract the data and ensure that is going to be helpful for your problem statement. Then do EDA, exploitative data analysis. Once you complete that, you have to create a model, nothing but formula creation, and validate the model. So I just taken 20,000 data for verification purpose. That's called validation. Once you feel your model is working as per your expectation, then communicate the model to your management. So these are the steps you have to follow. Now, Amar, what are the phases you have? So even our journey will start with the descriptive analytics. So on x-axis you can see difficulty, on y-axis you can see value. So descriptive analytics is nothing but basic understanding what is already happened. Yesterday my sales was 1,000 euros, and day before yesterday my sales was 900 euros. 2 days before my sales was 900 euros. So the thing is already happened. Knowing about what is already happened, not giving much importance to my company, being like a data scientist. So descriptive analytics always talking about what is already happened, historical data, talks about only historical data and summary of that. And diagnostic analytics is a subset of descriptive analytics. Why the things has happened? For example, yesterday the sales was 0. Why it was 0? You need to go and investigate further. So you are going to apply some basic statistics there, and you will give some reasons the causes why the thing is happened. So yesterday there might be shutdown, all the operations, maybe declared some red alert. So you can give some inputs like that. And after that, the first two steps, descriptive and diagnostics, we call it as EDA, exploratory data analysis. Once you complete that, you're going to apply advanced statistics, which is called predictive analytics. What is going to happen tomorrow? So since it is going to happen tomorrow, that means you're expecting something to be happen. Based on your historical data, you're forecasting about future. That is called predictive analytics. If you see on the x-axis, the difficulty start increasing when you start from descriptive to predictive. On y-axis, you can see the value for the organization. If you tell about what has happened yesterday, there is no value. But if you tell what is going to be happen tomorrow, that is always value to your organization. Then followed by prescriptive. How can we make it happen? For example, if you go in the same pattern, the sales may come down. Give me some optimization technique. The value will not be come down, but it will go up. So from A direction to B direction, you have to give, that is called prescriptive analytics. For example, you got 3 offers, offer A, offer B, offer C from 3 different companies. So how to choose a best offer out of 3? Three are similar standard companies, maybe level 5 company. On what basis you choose? All 3 are giving same salary. How to choose a best company out of these 3? So for that, we are going to do some research. Let's go prescriptive. Now, the same thing we already discussed. So identify the problem statement. That is the first step. The slide which I'm showing right now, that is copied from SAS Corporation. SAS is one of the tools, statistical tool, analysis software, which is helping to complete your machine learning models. So identify or formulate a problem, then data preparation, followed by data exploration, nothing but EDA. Sometimes the actual data may not helpful for your building a model, so we'll transform the data into the required statistical data, then build a model, then validate a model, then deploy the model. Once you deploy, it is our responsibility to monitor the results. Are we getting the results as expected or not? If not, again, the cycle repeats. In middle, you have different colors like yellow, blue, white, and green. So you can see the different people who are owning the responsibility. So generally, this is the expectation, but in reality, you can consider all roles has to play by data scientist only. Sometimes, if the client is a new person who doesn't have any knowledge on data science or importance of data, it is your responsibility to identify the problem from the data which is provided by the client, and you have to prepare a POC. From there, the journey starts. So sometimes you have to act the 4 roles. Now, what kind of skills I need to have? You need to have 2 types of skills, hard skills and soft skills. So hard skills are nothing but investing your time in front of the system, understand programming language like Python, Tableau, Power BI, and backend Azure or AWS or SQL system. And on side to side, you need to understand the statistical knowledge. So you need to learn that one. You don't need to think that statistics is a big journey or fun. Whatever you learned during your 9th, 10th standard or +1, +2, the same topics we are going to repeat again, and we are going to add a flavor called business. So what situation I had to apply A plus B whole square? What situation I had to use A minus B whole square? Operational research, whatever you learned during your MCA or MBS or during your graduation. So the same topics by giving a touch point of your business. On the right hand side, soft skills. So once you start learning the subject, we'll start giving the assignments. If you start applying your programming language, if you start giving practicing those assignments, the innovative things and creativity things will increase. So nowadays you are going to your CS or Target, some company, and you are walking into a shops. You just grab the stuff, whatever things you require. But once you become as a data scientist, the thinking will different. Why the bread and butter are coming joined together? Why one item is a one corner? Why the another item is another corner? Which is really important for the customer. So the view what we have right now is totally different after you learning the actual subject. Again, that is nothing but statistics only. Any questions from anyone? Team? So coming to my introduction, my name is Amarnath. I'm alumni of IIM Calcutta and have close to 16 years of experience, 15 years, 10 months I can say. Out of that, 8 years into data science. When I say data science, my core expertise into machine learning and business analytics. So I'm playing dual role, business BS as well as machine learning. So if you're coming to my journey, I got an opportunity to work with the logistics industry, banking, real estate, retail, and POC for some CRM products. So this is my journey. Any other questions? If you like to ask, I can answer those. Naren or Shikesh, Abhijit, Sai, Rishita. Any questions from anyone?
I'm good,
Yeah, we
Rishi.
are good.
I'm Amar. If
Thank
anybody
you.
has, please go ahead.
There are two ways we are going. Half of our time will go for statistics, half of our time will go to programming language. So that way we can balance both. Reason behind, uh, whenever you start your ED activity, you have to do in Excel as well as in Python. If you do in Excel, you'll understand what kind of changes are happening when you're doing your statistics. And when you start doing the same exercise in Python, you'll understand how the Python program is doing and what kind of outcome you're getting. You can compare both. So I always suggest Excel followed by Python. So half of our time will go for statistics, rest of the half will go for programming.
Amar, what are the regular timings for the class?
That one career IT will confirm.
Okay,
So they'll check with I mean with all the students and they'll confirm the reasonable time for all.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And if anyone have any questions, I think we can continue or else we can drop off.
Thank you, Amar.
Thank you, Naren. I'm
Good
dropping
demo.
off.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.